remember the lovely little Hoover Junior U1104 that we picked up along with that Singer cylinder vacuum? Well, I gave it a refurb. I gave it a strip, a wash, a polish. My lovely stepmother put a beautiful new zip on the bag. So this thing is ready to go, and it came out far better than I was expecting it to. Let's have a look. Yes, hello, my vacuum cleaner and Hoover chums. How are you today? Yeah, this U1104, the very stereotypical 1980s Hoover Junior that we got here in the UK. This is the one that we had. A lot of people aren't a huge fan of it versus the older ones, myself a little bit included, but I will not let that sway my love of this very nice example. I kept as much of the Bulldog sticker as I could on the handle, which washed up very nicely indeed. Not, or hardly, a mark on the thing. It is in immaculate condition. We can take off the flex and have a look at the very nice Volex plug that has been stripped and washed and had its pins polished and came up very nicely indeed. Yes, the bag. It's always a shame when the zip goes on a Hoover bag, and well, you just need to be lucky enough to have somebody who can put a nice new one on. So here we have our fill tube and our inner bag and our outer bag, all very nice. The zip goes up a treat. So I am wondering if I don't know really. I think it is straight. It almost looks a little bit twisted on the bottom, but I think that's fine. Hopefully it'll sort itself out with some hoovering. Right, have a look at the bottom, which has turned out absolutely beautiful. There is no fading on this machine. These can go all horrible and brown. This one is as cream as the day it left the factory. It is superb, really. I haven't done much with the Hoover lettering. You probably want to get a nice shiny red pen and tidy that up if you were keeping this machine for yourself. And it probably is going to be for sale not long after filming this video. It's probably going to be long gone by the time you see it, sadly, but needs must. Underneath is very clean and tidy. We have our rear wheels, which they're not running quite as free as I'd like. I'm hoping it'll sort itself out at some point. The front wheels and the activator brush roll, which is currently running with no belt because I have just done this machine, tested it, turned on, and that's it. We do the rest on the after video. So, without further ado, we shall provide power to this machine. It's not going to sound great without a belt. These never do. The plastic certainly doesn't help, and yeah, it's just going to spin a little bit more than it should, but it does run. It's got such good airflow, it clamps itself down onto the carpet, but again, it does need a brush roll fitting. So we shall open up the toolbox, take out a crosshead screwdriver, which is the wrong one, and I shall undo these base plate screws. The base plate then flicks off, and yeah, it's in pretty good order. There's a couple of little notches out of it, but there is a brand new base plate on eBay at the time of filming this, but I don't think it needs it. What did clean up very well though was all of the gunk inside of the brush roll housing. That's what I mean, this thing came up really well inside and out. So hopefully just a case of slapping on a belt. Now here's a belt that came off of the machine, and I think here is the replacement. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have like a packet of the belts, and there aren't any nice new old stock ones on eBay either, but that looks about right for a flat belt junior. It's mildly less stretched and warm than that one. So we're going to go for it. We're going to risk it. The activator isn't mint, but it's also fine. Certainly as good as you're probably going to get without sticking a new old stock one in. So we can pop those in there. I just greased the brush roll bearings, good old clean up in brake cleaner, and a good re-grease, and that was that. So back on with these screws, and then we'll do and I remember this being a hateful job of putting the belt on the spindle. It's also going to be hateful to film as well. So under here is a screw. This screw needs to be undone. Come on. There we go. Then the belt cover comes off. It's very clean. You can just see, the beginnings of the damage that happened. We've seen these where they've been big, like bear clawed out and rammed down the side of furniture. Again, there's just the slightest mark there, but from that distance, you haven't been able to tell yet, so it's okay. Right, we need to put the belt this way round, and here we go. Well, that's not as bad, which makes me worry that the belt's probably not the best, but we can turn it on and see if it flings straight off. It didn't, and immediately the machine sounds happier. Yeah, these motors, they are designed to run with the belt on, so without it, I don't think they get the right tension on them, the right load on the bearings. It's very hard to explain, and I could be just making up complete crap trap. But with a belt on, we should now be able to do some hoovering. Whatever the heck that little thing is rattling around in there. Like I say, these have a very distinct sound. I will perhaps say, if you're looking for that quintessential vintage Hoover sound, this isn't it. These make all right performers, but I mean, some people think they're collectible, and to some people these are vintage machines. For me, I used to pass these up in skips when I was a teenager, and I mean, this one is exceptionally lovely though. And it gets a little bit better, because for ages now I've had this. I think it came from Barson's. This is a pan converter. Look, genuine Hoover, a pan converter. This machine doesn't have tools that plug in as such. It has this, which clips on, I think. Is it a clip on? Yeah, clips on to the base plate. That's what this little pad here is for. And this now has tool size. Oh yeah. I mean, it's terrible if you collect vacuum cleaners, as every Hoover Turbo Power and Hoover Junior is. However, I did notice and went and found this Hoover Turbo Power 1 hose, because this and the Turbo Power 1 were made at about the same time. Oh no, it is completely different. They almost made them fit. I can shove it on. They obviously tweaked the design, but essentially you would get this just in white with this machine. I mean, you can see why most people just left them in the box and you always see a nice Hoover toolkit for like £5 on eBay because they weren't very good. Yeah, it is a bit different. Look, it's almost the same. You see where the little tabs should line up. I think the original one is just this but smaller. But luckily, because this is rubber, we can just push it on and it does work the same. I think you can even pull the machine around with it. I'm fairly sure that is how the turbo power was advertised. But these machines always were better on the carpet. And that is where this one is probably best to belong. It's come out really, really nice. To be honest, for a machine that I only got because the guy only wanted a very small amount of money for it, and you know it was going to get skipped otherwise. So I grabbed it, and now that my stepmother did the zip very nicely, it's what prompted me to get the machine washed up and brushed up. And it's come up really well. I think it sounds fine. I think it's just, these never were the smoothest, nicest machines, but it runs okay. It's probably going to go onto eBay for a reasonable starting bid, and hopefully somebody can have a very nice unfaded Hoover Junior, you know, with scope to fettle with it a little bit more, perhaps service your own motor one day. You know, it can be one of those machines, or it can just sit there looking absolutely mint. Have you ever seen such a nice clean Hoover Junior U1104? Do let me know down below. But until the next time, I and some other unwanted vacuum cleaner will see you soon. Bye bye.